Good morning. How are you all today? And welcome to Integrative Preparedness. It's a little chilly out here today. I want to talk about resisting oppression, resisting tyranny, the importance of continued resistance, and how you can do it, how you ought to be doing it. Man, yeah, it is chilly. I was hoping for a nice day. We've just had a couple of beautiful days. Windstorms yesterday. I heard there was 83-mile-an-hour gusts down in Texas, and I think that we've gained about 2 inches of elevation up here from all the dirt in Texas that blew up here, because it was up in the 40s and 50s and 60-mile-an-hour up here. We went to my daughter's soccer game yesterday, and there was a lot of balls that were kicked up in the air and blew backwards over the head of the one who kicked it. It was brutal. And then today we have a kind of a cool day, which is good. We're going to be working out. We're going to be moving a lot of pavers and starting building new patios and things out back, and moving a lot of stuff. We're doing a lot of things with the house, and I don't know. There's no reason to get more into that, but that's what we're doing. I am drinking a new. Don't worry, I'm getting to the importance of resisting tyranny and how to do that. Talk about an interesting video that I just watched that was sent to us. Was posted actually in the comment section of the Patreon section. You know, I have forgotten to let you all know on YouTube that you could join us over on the Patreon channel if you'd like. It's only $1 a month, and you get a lot of good stuff over there that you don't get on YouTube. And the links down below if you'd like to join us. You should. You'd be happy you did. But I'll get to the resisting here in just a second. I'm drinking a different kind of coffee today, believe it or not. And you know, I have drunk. People have asked me, what kind of coffee do you drink? I drink Folgers Instant. I love Folgers Instant. I've drunk Folgers Instant for at least 40 years, maybe more than that, maybe 50. And I love it so much I even included it in my books. You all know that Jim Wyatt always drinks Folgers Instant, right? I think it's just great. But today I am drinking, I'm going to show you, I am drinking a different kind of coffee. This isn't an ad. Well, I guess it is, but I'm not getting anything for it. Attack Coffee Company. It's based here in Kansas City, and the one I'm drinking right now is Combat Cowboy. It says it is a stout, dark roast blend. Attack your day, it says. It's put out, it's a company put out by a couple of Air Force guys, and they seem like good guys. I contacted the company because many of you know that I'm thinking about coming out with a Stonemont coffee. And I liked theirs so much, I contacted them. I told them my idea. I said, hey, do you do private label stuff? Looking for a roaster that will do it. And they said, man, that sounds like a great idea, but we're just not, our production isn't up to the point that we'd feel comfortable of making that commitment right now. So maybe they'll get bigger in the future, and maybe I'll get back to them. But they gave me the name of somebody else that they also recommend, and I'm talking to a couple of roasters, and I'm gonna find out. I don't know when Stonemont Coffee will come out. I don't know, but it's one of the many projects that I'm working on. You all who have been with me know I've always got 9 million things going on at the same time, right? So I just thought I'd give them a plug because this is good coffee. Attack Coffee Company, and they have a lot of different lines. Combat Cowboy is not the only one, but I liked it because it's got the motorcycle. I rode motorcycles for years and years anyway, and I'm a cowboy. Okay, yeah, I was watching an interesting video that was put up by one of our patrons, and it was a video of Joel Salatin. Many of you are probably familiar with Joel, and it was he was talking about his what is that thing that they have going on? He holds several things a year, I guess, around the country, and it's about not complying with the or circumventing the system. He's talking about bird flu, and you know how they're slaughtering all the chickens, and how they are essentially attacking our food supply. We've known that for a long time, and they are. And I've talked about this. I talked about the resistance the other night when I put the one up about the Irish resistance, and rebellion, and I've talked before about the great Irish famine, which was it was a genocide. It was the purposeful starvation of an entire population. It made the Holodomor pale in comparison, and more people ought to be familiar with the Irish situation. Well, is that what they're doing with us right now? And I I like you love a good conspiracy theory and or a good conspiracy. And there's the meme that says, so far conspiracy theorists 37 and the government 0. Well, pretty much every conspiracy that I've ever looked into, I have found to be true, and I think you probably agree with that. And so although it sounds nuts to say that they are trying to starve us to death, I don't think that it's nuts at all. I think it's the way, as people have known for uh, thousands of years, you control the food and you control the people. Um, so they are. They are. Whether it's, you remember all the cattle that were dying there for a while, and then all the pigs that were being slaughtered, and then we've gone through several iterations of slaughtering all the chickens around there. It's doing a couple of things. It's creating shortages, of course, and then it's driving up the prices. So they're getting a double dip for one. Two birds with one stone kind of deal. And they are. I don't think there's any doubt in the world that they are trying to control us with food, and they're doing it little by little, and so that it doesn't scare people too much, so that it just kind of keeps everybody talking on the low level of, can you believe what they're doing, kind of thing, right? Well, true preparedness is seeing these little pieces of evidence and following them to their natural conclusion, which means not just getting upset about, can you believe what they're doing, but saying, I see where it's going, and the day is going to come to where they're going to be in control of the entire food supply, and we're going to be SOL, right? You all seen Soylent Green? Those of you who have seen Soylent Green, raise your hand. Yeah, I see most of you have. Those who haven't, it's probably on Netflix or YouTube or someplace. Go watch it. Soylent Green. Soylent Green is people. You want to be eating your neighbors here pretty soon? Let me take a sip of Combat Cowboy here. Uh, so the truly preparedness minded person, the PMP, as opposed to the temporarily excitable prepper, is going to say, yeah, I see where this is going, and I'm going to prepare. And it is a type. This is a soft tyranny. Some would say that it's a hard tyranny, but it's a gradual tyranny. And it's gradual. I know it's the old frog in the boiling water in the pot. Right? But they're doing it slowly and slowly and slowly. And those who aren't uh, up to speed are going to just continue to suffer a little bit more, a little bit more, and it's going to get worse and worse, and they're going to continue to complain. Well, we know that complaining doesn't doing a darn thing, right? And that's what's so. I've said this so many times. I'm saying this more recently. Complaining is such a part, it seems, of the modern preparedness world. It's just a bunch of whining and complaining, and you need more action and a lot less complaining. And the ones who think that complaining does something, they're gonna suffer as a result. The rest, the really preparedness-minded people are doing something about it, and you need to do something about it. Now, what is that then? We are completely redesigning our planting beds this year. We have always grown some of our food. Now, it's not something, growing your food is quite a learning curve. It really is. And I started years ago. Now I live, and we still buy a lot of our food. We buy all of our meat, of course, but we buy a lot of our food at the store. Certainly, we still do. It's just convenient. I'm busy. We run businesses, we do this, we do that, and it's just my lifestyle that we buy a lot of stuff at the store. But years ago, I saw the importance of learning how to produce my own food, and I have gone through the learning curve. And if you're not to that point, I would suggest that you do. And many of you are far beyond that. A lot of you out there produce most, if not all, of your food, but I'm speaking to the ones maybe who aren't at that point yet. And even those of you who do produce most of your own food, I think you're gonna see some great opportunities coming along as people want to source their food closer to the producer. You know, as they see this plan of tyranny, of the control of our food, you're going to have great opportunities to market your produce, and I don't just mean vegetables. I mean your production, whether it's your eggs, your vegetables, your fruits, maybe you're already into the retail of canning and selling food, and that's great, because this is a parallel economy that I think is going to be very important for everybody, both the producers and the consumers. But anyway, for those of you who are not to that point, I would suggest you increase your knowledge and your experience in producing your own food. Like I said, we are totally redesigning all of our food plots in order to increase the production, maximize the production per square foot, and we'll make a determined. This is the first year that we will be making a determined effort to increase the production. When things change politically, I think there's a tendency to take your foot off the gas. When things are going against us, we go, oh man, we got to get ready, it's coming. And then all of a sudden there's a change. We go, okay, it's fine. Let's coast downhill for a while. No, that's not the way to go. When things are good, speed it up. Do your best, so that when the next hill comes, it's not as steep for you. Okay, you have used the good times to prepare for the bad times. That's what we always do. Right? We're going to go down. As a matter of fact, my oldest son just expressed, and the kids have always kind of found it interesting, but not really. And they're going to they're now finding it more interesting. And one of the it's kind of a how would you describe this? Our design. We're designing planters and planting beds into the new patios and different things that we're putting out there, pergolas and things like that. And it's going to be a lot of fun how we do this and make it a part of the back landscape, right? I don't know how else to put that. It's probably a much better way to put it than I did, but it's early yet, and I need more combat cowboy. I wish they could have done it, because I would have loved to make this available to you all, but I'll find one that's just as good. So we're also going to do. My oldest said, "Hey, we got to go back down to what's that? Baker? I used to buy all my seeds from them. Baker something down in Mansfield, Missouri, and I stopped because they required all their employees to take the poke, and that made me mad. And many of you know Kelly and I lost our jobs because we wouldn't take it, and so any place that made their people take it, including Carhartt, I still won't buy Carhartt, but they made them, so I haven't bought from them for several years. But my oldest son says, let's go down. They have you can find them at rareseeds.com, and Baker Creek, that's it. And so we're going to go down to their spring planting festival. I think it's May. It's first part of May sometime. We're going to go down there, and it's great to have the kids now more interested in food production, and they're understanding the importance of it, because they're understanding what's going on in the world and with the government, how tenuous the world is. There's wars and rumors of wars, and I'll do another one on that maybe tomorrow or maybe Monday, I don't know. But when it comes right down to it, your resistance to the system begins with what keeps you alive, and the extent to which you rely on them gives them the control. I'm not telling you anything that you don't know, but I'm telling you, because many times it helps to hear somebody else say it once again, right? It helps people go, yeah, that's right. It's just kind of, a little support from somebody else and a reminder to do this. So we're going to go down there this year, and I'm real excited this year about increasing. And we're going to. They didn't know, and I think they didn't realize how many flowers are edible. Now Kelly likes flowers, and the kids like flowers, and I said, well, that's great. I don't mind flowers, but did you know how many flowers are edible? And so we're getting into that. It's part of the education. The smarter you are, or well, I don't know, smart's the right word. The more educated you are, the more you're able to resist whatever is threatening you. The more educated you are on whatever it is that takes the resistance, right? And at this point, we're not, nobody's resisting with, rifle fire. One of my favorite songs, Fernando by ABBA. You guys know that song? That's funny. I like ABBA. What was his name? Got put in prison over the Watergate thing. G. Gordon Liddy, man, he said that ABBA, and this will make a lot of you laugh, he said that ABBA was the greatest rock group ever was. And I thought that was funny because I never knew anybody that really liked ABBA, but I do. I like Fernando. That's a great song. I might put it up just for everybody on the Patreon side. Second invitation, if you're not with us, come on over. You'd love to be there. So realize that tyranny, it comes in waves. And just because things are looking better right now doesn't mean that it's not going to, that it's gone. It's not gone. Any attempt to control you is on the tyranny spectrum. Now I know, people associate tyranny with the jackboot on your neck on the ground, but it comes in many degrees. Yeah, look up the word tyrant. Just see what that says. So it comes in waves, and it's never, as long as there are people who want to control other people, it's never going to go away, which means it's never going to go away, right? So I would suggest, that's my suggestion, that your resistance to tyranny is your ability to provide for yourself. And one of the easiest things to do, very few of us out there can make our own clothes and build our own cars and build our own houses. I mean, we can, but, who wants to build their own house if they're not, if you want something bigger than 400 square feet. But what we can do is grow our own food. And that is important. And I think it's going to be a major part of a parallel economy. There was a guy here, I'll tell you a story, in Kansas City area that started just kind of messing around with special tomatoes, and he loved growing the exotic stuff, and I grow some of those. Maybe I'll show you later in the year. I grow some kind of cool corn and cool tomatoes and things from Baker Creek and some others, but he really got into growing the exotic tomatoes, and he started taking them, this is years ago, he started taking them around to restaurants in Kansas City and showing them what he could give them, and most restaurants, well, the good ones buy from, directly from the producers. But, most restaurants, they just get them from a food supply place, and it's just a big crate of tomatoes, and, they don't care. Well, he says, look, I can give you these really cool special tomatoes, and he built a huge business out of it. And, that's something to keep in mind, too. You can, too. So resistance to tyranny begins with your ability to provide for yourself so that the tyrant doesn't have complete control over you. And somebody just said, you want the greatest textbook in survival and preparedness and everything that you could ever get? It's funny because one of our great commenters over on the Patreon side was talking about my books. And he said, Steve, dare I call them textbooks? And I said, you certainly may. You call them whatever you want. May I suggest, in my opinion and the opinion of thousands around the world, the very best book and book series you can read for preparing surviving, preparing for, surviving, and rebuilding after a total collapse of everything, which also means preparing right now for anything that comes along, and that is the Stonemont series. Okay, yes, they are my books. I wrote these things. That's why if you're new to me, you say, well, who is this guy just yammering on about all this kind of stuff? Well, I'm the guy that wrote the Stonemont series, and if you haven't read them, I would suggest it be the very next thing you do if you are serious about preparedness, or if you just like a great story, because it's a great story. There are so many lessons in here that you won't even realize you're learning because you'll be caught up in the story. And people have told me that they read them through 2, 3, 4, 5 times through the whole series, and they still finding things in the 5th time through that they missed the first 4 times. So it's the Stonemont series, the reversion, the revival, the renewal, an appeal to heaven, the blessings of freedom, hostages to fortune, and the latest one, which is on wings like eagles. And you can get those a couple of ways. You can get them through Amazon. They're always available through Amazon. Or the better way to get them is directly from me, and I love it when you do that, because when you get them through me, through our website, and the link's down below, stonemont.us, then I get to sign them for you and write a little note in there to you. And when you do that, you can't buy the whole set. You can buy them individually through Amazon, but through our website, you can get the whole set, and we give you a nice discount, because when we send them all together, we save money on the postage and the handling when we do that, and we pay all the postage and handling, but we save money and we pass that on to you. And then we also throw in the Stonemont notebook, which that is so cool. I use mine all the time, and we throw that in for nothing. For you, you've the valued reader, and I love it when you do that. So if you haven't read them, I would suggest you do, and you'll love them. So think about this. Think about, tyranny is ever present. It is always around. We don't notice it because we get used to it. But as things happen that increase, our difficulty, then we start to go, I don't like that. And when they're trying to put the hammer on us, like they are with this bird flu and slaughtering all the chickens and the egg prices going up astronomically and all that, it makes us realize the importance of being our own providers. So the time is coming. Many of you are already getting your gardens in. Some are waiting a couple more weeks. We don't plant around here till about the 23rd of April. Because that's usually the last frost. I mean, we got some beautiful days, ahead of us, but I've been fooled before. And I've planted and gotten frozen out, and it hits my fruit trees, and then they have to start all over again. They just don't do well. So I don't plant anything until, the latter part of April, and then it's great guns. So remember, be your own supplier. To the extent you are your own supplier, the less you are reliant on the tyrant, and the tyrant doesn't have your best in mind. Okay, that's not their purpose is control, not your quality of life. So you all have a good day. Do that. Remember, if you haven't read those books, get them. You're going to learn so much. You'll be surprised, and start planning what you're going to do to separate yourself from dependence on the tyrants. And like we always say, we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow. You all have a good one, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.